As your business scales, how do you know if your growth, spending, and efficiency are on par with your peers? Are your teams operating at industry standards or lagging behind? With benchmarks in Drivetrain, you can easily compare your company's performance against industry standards, helping you identify where you're leading and where you can improve. Benchmarks are seamlessly integrated into your reports and models, so you can visualize actuals versus benchmarks versus plan and forecasts for any key metric, all in one place. Here's a dashboard showing external benchmarks embedded across tables and charts, giving a live view of how performance stacks up. You can see actuals and plan numbers compared to benchmarks for companies in the $25 to $50 million ARR range that were sourced from external benchmark providers and reports. This first table tracks human capital efficiency, metrics like ARR per employee, and S&M, R&D, and G&A expenses as a percentage of revenue. Here, we're comparing actuals, median benchmark, and plan with their respective variances for each month in FY25. Often, finance teams want to understand how they're progressing against benchmarks over a longer horizon, say by quarter or year. You can do this by using the Rollup option to switch from monthly to quarterly or yearly views, and Drivetrain automatically aggregates your actuals and benchmark values, recalculating the figures at that level instantly. The gauge charts below provide another way to compare and visualize the performance for the first quarter of the year. Further down, we have similar sections for operational efficiency metrics like growth rate, gross margin, and the Rule of 40, and customer acquisition metrics including CAC payback period, different flavors of CAC ratios, and SaaS magic number. And this final section compares your actuals versus 75th percentile benchmarks versus plan to see how you stack up against top quartile performers. You can easily customize these reports to create the benchmark comparisons that matter most to your business. Let's create a table showing actuals, plan, and both the top quartile and median benchmarks for the three expense ratio metrics for Q1 FY25. We'll start by adding a new table to the layout. Now we'll add the metrics, S&M, R&D, and G&A expenses as a percentage of revenue. Then we'll select the versions we want to compare, actuals, plan, and the two benchmark versions for median and 75th percentile. We'll select quarterly time granularity for our view. Finally, we'll adjust the time period to just the first quarter of FY25. And in just seconds, we've built a tailored benchmark comparison table. When new benchmark data, say for 2026, becomes available, updating your numbers is just as simple. All benchmarks live inside your Drivetrain models, so you can manage and refresh them directly. We'll open the benchmark model. You can define the metrics here to use the same formula as your benchmark source, so comparisons against actuals and plan are always like for like. We'll open the version called Benchmark ARR 25 to 50 million 75th percentile that holds our current top quartile values, and fill in the latest benchmark values here, and the reports will instantly reflect the change. You can also create new benchmark versions for different filters or percentile ranges, say 90th percentile benchmarks for an ACV range of 25 to 50K. With benchmarks integrated into your reports, you always have a live, continuous view of how your business is performing relative to peers, enabling faster, more confident decisions. That's how easily you can calibrate performance with benchmarks, right inside Drivetrain.